We've got 5 lingering questions for 2026 up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Friday, October 3rd. I am Frank Sanford, joined by Scott White. Let's take a look at 5 lingering questions for 2026. And up first, what are the Padres' intentions for Mason Miller going forward, Scott? This is a huge talking point. They gave up a top 5 prospect in all of baseball in Leo DeVries to get their hands on Mason Miller. Some people suspect they might turn him back into a starting pitcher. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think in part it's a way to rationalize them giving up such a big prospect for a closer. But worth noting, Mason Miller might be the most talented reliever in the game. I think he showed it in his 22 appearances as a setup man for the Padres. 0.77 ERA, 0.73 whip, 17.4 K per nine. I mean, it's not just any reliever. And he has years of control left. So I don't think it's not something, it isn't something we're used to seeing, a high-end prospect like that for a reliever. But I think if you're going to do it for any reliever, you can understand why they did it for Miller. Is it unthinkable to me that they could try him as a starter? It's not unthinkable. Was originally the plan for him when the A's drafted him. It's just he couldn't stay healthy in that role. And as hard as he throws the ball, that's not so surprising either. Robert Suarez has 2 option years left, but he's presumably going to opt out. So they could very easily, and maybe when they made the trade, were thinking that, okay, Mason Miller steps in as closer after that. But it's obviously not decided yet. And it's at least worth entertaining the possibility that they could try him as a starter.
Which one do you prefer?
I mean, starters are more impactful in fantasy than closers in theory. Certainly in standard size leagues, that's true. But I don't trust Mason Miller to stay healthy in the role. And we know what we have in him as a closer, and it's fantastic. So I think I'd say closer, but I would be intrigued by him as a starter for sure, because there would still be plenty of upside in that role.
Next up, we have Eugenio Suarez. Does he simply need to get out of Seattle? He is a pending free agent this offseason. Obviously, this is ahead of the Mariners' postseason run, so we'll see what they do and how Suarez impacts that. But what do you think?
Yeah, that's the question, right? Because so before going to the Mariners during his time with the Diamondbacks this season, he had 248 with an 897 OPS and a 27% strikeout rate. After joining the Mariners, 189, a 682 OPS, and a 36% strikeout rate.
Yikes.
And T-Mobile Park is a place where it's one of those venues where a lot of hitters have trouble just seeing the ball. Apart from the dimensions, it can give hitters difficulties, and Suarez can speak to this himself from his previous stint with the Mariners. But he's also 35. So was his downfall, 34, excuse me, was his downfall just a warning sign that he's getting older, or was it all related to him joining the Mariners T-Mobile Park? His 24 road games with the Mariners, he hit 280 with a 921 OPS. The strikeout rate was still inflated, which is, not what you want to see, but he hit well. And so I'm thinking probably it's just an issue with T-Mobile Park for him. He's impending free agent. Presumably he'll sign elsewhere this offseason. We should hope he does. That's his best chance of remaining a fantasy stud.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back into FBT Express. Let's take a look at some other lingering questions for 2026. Up next, Scott, for your beloved Atlanta Braves. Is Spencer Strider still good in his current form? I don't know.
So he had 3 horrible starts to begin August. In the 9 before that, 291 ERA, 118 whip, 11.6 K per nine. So he was kind of looking basically fine. The 6 starts after that 3-start stretch, he had a 250 ERA. The whip was high, the strikeout rate low, so it wasn't like he was totally fine. But a lot of the ERA inflation has to do with that really rough stretch. Moreover, 14% swinging strike rate on the year would have tied for 7th among qualifiers. So like there's still abnormal bat missing ability here for Strider, even though his fastball shape was clearly diminished coming back from elbow surgery. He acknowledged as much and actually tried to address it in season by doing some work at a local pitching lab. Didn't really take. Obviously, he still had his day job going on at the time. The slider still rates is great. He began mixing in a slow curveball late in the season, and like I said, saw some improvement with that. So there are tweaks I think he could make to hopefully salvage things. But is there enough here if he doesn't make those tweaks? I think it's a fair question. The thing that gives me the most hope is that 9-start stretch prior to the bumpy August, and then decent but still kind of iffy September. Like he had that stretch where he was doing well, and I think if he can fix his fastball shape, there's still plenty to work with here.
Yeah, I have my doubts about Spencer Strider, but you point out a few things I think he needs to address and we need to pay attention to in spring training. Is that fastball velocity up at all? Is the shape better? Is he getting whiffs on that fastball? If not, is he incorporating a third pitch that's dependable, a curveball, a changeup, maybe a cutter, something like that? I think that'll be a big question and a big name to pay attention to during spring training. What happens to Isaac Paredes now that Carlos Correa is entrenched at third base for the Astros? We know that they have Christian Walker at first base, presumably would have a healthy Yordan Alvarez at DH, or maybe they just play Alvarez more in the outfield. What do you think happens with Isaac Paredes?
Yeah, I haven't seen people raising this point. I mean, Carlos Correa, given that he was a good shortstop, I imagine they prefer his defense at third base to Paredes. And he hit well after joining the Astros. But Paredes was great at Daikin Park, given that the short porch in right field is perfectly tailored to his swing. He was basically what the Astros lost in Alex Bregman as a hitter. He really was. And so he needs to be in the lineup somewhere. In the distant past, he played second base. Presumably, they don't want him at DH because Yordan Alvarez will have to take up that spot. So I don't know what the cleanest solution is. I mean, they still have Christian Walker under contract. He finished the year strong, so he's probably at first base. Second base, or maybe they try Paredes in left field. I don't know, but they have to keep his bat in the lineup somehow. And it's going to be it's going to be something to pay attention to because obviously we want Paredes given how weak third base is looking, we want him available as an everyday player.
Last question here, and pretty similar to the first one. What are the Dodgers' intentions for Roki Sasaki moving forward? Full transparency, we just watched the Dodgers wrap up their wildcard series against the Reds. With a 4-run lead, Roki Sasaki pitched the 9th inning of that game. He averaged 100.6 miles per hour on his fastball. He threw a perfect inning with 2 strikeouts. He's only made 2 appearances out of the bullpen so far, but Scott, he has looked electric in both of those. So he's still so young. I don't think, all right, he's just a reliever now, but there could be something to it. What do you think?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously he was one of the biggest busts. Fastball velocity was a sticking point coming over from Japan because that pitch was a lot more effective at 98, 99 than 95, 96. He shows up as a starter, is more in that 95, 96 range, and it's not looking good. Missed some time with injury. They tried bringing him back as a starter who was struggling even the minors, move him to a relief role. Suddenly he's hitting 99. Like if it may just be that's the role he's best suited for. Like he can't reach those velocities anymore in an extended role, and he's not good enough if he's not reaching those velocities. So, obviously they're using him in that role in the postseason. Does that mean they're giving up on him as a starter? Is it possible that whatever clicked for him with this move to relief, he can then carry over to a starter and start reaching those velocities he once peaked at in Japan? It's possible, but it seems the less likely scenario, especially given how much starting pitching depth the Dodgers have. Like I kind of wonder if they're just going to roll with him as a reliever. Like this is the best way to maximize the investment we made and maybe even as a closer, because it's not like Tanner Scott was really thriving in that role this year.
And if you want to read about other lingering questions heading into next season, Scott has an article that is currently on the website, cbssports.com/fantasy/baseball. It's more of what you missed in September, but towards the bottom, you'll see some of these lingering questions as well. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again next week. Bye-bye.